Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. This is Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Mentor Select serves parents who are raising teens. Every week, Derek interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. All while parenting them to be successful adults, focusing on social and emotional development, something that's left out of the classroom, but not in ours. Be sure to subscribe, share, and rate. This is Mentor Select, and this is your host, Derek Phillips.
All right, parents, today you're in for a great treat. We have Kevin Hamilton, the co-founder of Garden Youth Development Project, also Southwest Soul Circuit Production Company. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fantastic. Life is good. How are you?
Oh, man. You know what? I feel very fortunate and blessed to just have great people around me during this pandemic, man. It's a rough time, but we're doing well over here.
I love to hear that. Yeah, I just love that outlook you have. Just definitely this pandemic is showing us how important it is to just be surrounded by good people and showing what really matters in life.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely. So, Kevin, as you know, our podcast, we really serving parents who are raising teenagers. I know you do a lot of mentoring and you've been working with youth for years. That's why I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Tell us more about Garden Youth Development Project.
Okay. Well, Garden Youth Development Project is our nonprofit organization, which we seek to help kids learn subjects of academia and life skills by working on music projects or arts projects. So we like to use those projects that we put kids on to put them in the driver's seat of the program that they're in. So they put themselves in the driver's seat of learning the content. Myself and other instructors, instead of being the teachers, we turn into the resource that the kids use to get the information they need, to get the production acumen they may need to create whatever it is they have to create. And also for our mentoring them through the academics portions of their arts projects. So we have 10 programs for kids who are infants to 17 years old. Okay. And all those programs are designed to meet kids where they are emotionally, mentally, intellectually. And also we look to allow them to have fun while doing it, man.
Man, that sounds fantastic. And where are y'all located?
So we are located in Tucson, Arizona. We were founded in 2009, and this is where we started. But I've done work throughout the Southwest in conjunction with our for-profit production company, Southwest Soul Circuit.
Okay. How many kids do you estimate have gone through your program since the founding? A lot, huh?
We've serviced thousands of kids. There are some programming that we've created for groups of kids, up to 500-600 kids at a time, and do a lot of programming for charter schools, for the independent school district here, for like summer programs, and a lot of youth development organizations. We would go ahead and give them a music component or a fine art component. But instead of it being fine arts, again, we look at it as more life skills building and more academic based, more so than a fine arts.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Now, I certainly understand the need as far as teaching youth life skills is invaluable. But tell me more about your inspiration when you first decided, hey, I want to found this nonprofit. What was your inspiration behind it?
Well, youth development has always been a part of my life since I was a kid, right? I've always kind of sought to find things to help me cope with issues that I grew up with as a kid. And music happened to be the thing that really gave me a focal point to discipline me, to help me to heal those wounds that I was going through. Just the very act of singing an instrument, playing an instrument, acting or painting, expressing yourself through dance, expressing yourself through an art, it allows you to kind of work through a lot of the issues you go through in life. And so with that being said, music was my go-to thing. It helped me cope with a lot of issues as a teenager. It also in my 20s helped me to, have a living as a musician, man. It wasn't until I was right at 40 when I had been running a successful production company for years to where we decided to open up our recording studio in downtown Tucson to a summer program. We wanted to produce our own summer program through our for-profit company. And so it was a recording arts seminar that I gave to about 15 kids. It was immersive. It was an immersive, all hands-on program where these kids came to the studio every day and for 6 weeks, and they learned how to write music, record music, and we actually finished the whole album in that short period of time. So because of that, the success of that program, a local judge saw what we were doing, and he decided to help us create Garden Youth Development Project. So, we been going ever since.
Wow, the rest is history. That's fantastic. And I'm sure just for some of the parents listening may have sparked their attention when you mentioned how you growing up as a kid, how music really helped you able to focus and cope with things that you were dealing with and heal wounds. Are you noticing that that's helping other kids do the same, especially teenagers?
We're all the same, man. I look at kids and adults. We're all the same. Just adults have more experience and more access to resources and more opportunities to make the choices to help themselves. So I look at what we do as a way to, give kids opportunity to express themselves in whatever it is. So the arts lends themselves, if you do it the correct way, it lends itself to giving kids the opportunity to work their own issues out.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. And of course, I've worked with so many kids and, we all can see kids struggling. We can see that they're going through something. We don't quite know what it is. And a lot of times the kids don't quite know what it is either. So, the arts become a foundation where everybody's equal. Everybody has something they can share, whether they're very gifted and talented or whether they're analytical or smart or like to figure stuff out. You put everyone together on one project, they all kind of find their part on that project. Some they lend themselves more to leadership, some more to creativity, some more to support and administration. And, my high schoolers, they fall right in line into a project management kind of orientation. Mm-hmm. So that whatever we're doing, whether it's producing an album, producing a short film, or producing a stage show, they all have a part to play.
Love that. And essentially you're pointing out they all bring value, kind of like self-select, identify where their skills can be best utilized. I like that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Most definitely. And I'll add to that. I went to Carter High School my freshman and sophomore year.
Okay.
And
they're here in Dallas, right?
Yeah, they're in Dallas, Texas. My first 2 years, my report cards were horrible. And it wasn't that I was a slow kid. I just was bored.
Okay.
I was not a traditional, quote unquote, traditional kind of student. And so my report card suffered. And my junior year, I decided I wanted to go to the performing arts school because I was singing around town as a teenager quite a bit through the churches and thought that it would be good for me to go to the performing arts school. So my junior year, I started at the performing arts school, and man, my report card turned 180 degrees around.
Voila.
It was amazing. Had never failed a class again after that.
Wow. I'm glad you highlighted that because parents may be encountering that with their teens where maybe their teens are not excelling in school. And it may not be a result of they're not getting it. It's just they're bored and they need to find another way to express themselves or like you, maybe go to a school that's more tailored towards their gifts.
Yeah. I found also that, a lot of measures of intelligence is based on the IQ of a child or IQ of a person.
Right.
But I feel like, and I believe that EQ is way more important than IQ. The emotional quotient is quite a bit more important to me than IQ because it doesn't matter how much you know unless you're emotionally able to take in the information, process it, and then do something with it.
Right.
So I try to make sure I keep an emotionally safe environment for the kids. We're not scoring on each other or talking smack. It's already hard enough to get people who are apprehensive about playing an instrument or singing in front of others to do it. So we create an environment to where it's very safe emotionally. People feel very comfortable. Kids feel comfortable with asking what, others may call dumb questions, or, we just try to make sure that everyone is valued, they feel valued and cared for, and that their opinion matters. And that to me is the biggest attribute to any organization, is to make it an emotionally safe place so that the intelligence of the person can ring through.
Wow. I love that. And I realize it's harder said than done, especially when you bring together a lot of kids, especially teenagers. Can you tell us some ways that you found effective in terms of making an environment emotionally safe?
When I ran my recording studio in downtown Tucson, I made sure that everyone knew that the space that they walked into was a safe zone.
Okay.
So I would either give people a briefing as they come in, in either academic or professional way, to say, please understand that this is a safe environment. We will not talk negatively about anyone or to anyone here. Or sometimes you just keep it straight. Hey, don't bring that mess in here. Keep that stuff outside.
Right.
We all trying to have a good time in here, so leave the mess at the door type stuff. But however that works, I think setting an expectation of what the environment should be,
right,
is not an intrusive thing at all. I think everyone, whether you're an adult or a child, feels a lot more comfortable if they know what's expected when you go into an environment.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the way we teach, the way we approach information, we put the subject matter, or we put the direction of what the kids want to learn in their hands first, because they can speak from things that are within their wheelhouse of learning. You give them opportunity to share what they want to do and how they want to do it. And then they're already in it. As soon as they say, I want to, then they're already on the hook before they know it.
Okay, like it. So I know you mentioned, like, you start, as far as the programs you all have, is from infants all the way to 17 years old. What are some recommendations you have for parents who want to introduce their kids to the arts?
I would say first and foremost, make sure that you allow your kid to find their joy in music before you try to put the weight of fine arts discipline on them. I've worked with Tucson Symphony Orchestra. I've worked with Arizona Theater Company. I've worked with many large arts organizations. I teach privately. I teach voice and piano and other instruments privately, one-on-one. And I tell you, the biggest factor in adults who really don't like to play instruments, the biggest factor that makes them not want to play is being forced to learn, being forced to go to practice, being forced to do music like a chore. So I just say, allow your kid to find the joy first, allow them to find the passion first, and then you take that energy and you focus it towards the discipline of the skill of whatever it is they're doing. That's probably one of the biggest factors that will help a kid be successful in music. After that, they just have to really be comfortable with the teacher or the coach that's coaching them towards their success.
Right.
We always put the kid's success from their perspective up front. So I always ask the kids, well, what is it that you want to do? What do you think you're going to get from this program? What do you want to get from music? Give them the time to figure out what they want to get from it. And then once you do that, you just give it to them just like that.
Give them what they want.
When you give them what they want, then you can actually get out of them what they need.
That's deep. It is. And I really love the focal of your program, where you talk a lot about making sure that they feel valued, allow them to express themselves. And then also you talked about the importance of meeting them where they are emotionally. Can you elaborate more on that, just how important that is?
I think about back to my own life. it seems like the hardest years of your life are those in between years, the 7th and 8th grade year.
Yeah.
Physiologically, we're going through so many chemical changes.
Right.
And, we could actually be diagnosed as clinically insane at some point at that time.
Yeah.
So when you give a kid an opportunity to feel safe, when you give them opportunity to kind of address their issues through music, through art, through whatever, like the arts lend themselves to expression. So when you give the kid the opportunity to feel safe and express themselves, they start peeling back that onion on their own. And you just have to make sure that you're there and you meet them at their need when they finally decide to let go. And a lot of this to me is, I'm a music minister as well. So, it lends itself to helping them in their spiritual walk as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So with your experience of working with so many teenagers over the years, what are some common challenges that you see that they're dealing with that maybe they're not sharing with their parents for whatever reason, but maybe they're more open and comfortable sharing with you and your staff?
Well, I think inherently it's just difficult to talk about dynamics at the home with the people that live in the home with you. And so I think when we give, especially high schoolers, when we give them a chance to speak on their social justice or their social issues, the way they want to speak on them, somehow we give them the platform to allow them to talk about dynamics that they live in. Because at the end of the day, society is comprised of your family, your friends, careers, your money, your physical health, like all those things that are important to your life. Give them a chance to talk about all those things, and they'll start sharing with you the most pressing things in their lives. And usually it's something that's going on at home or something going on with their friends that they don't know how to deal with. But when we start digging into life issues, let's say we could probably do a little movie right now about the effect of COVID-19 on high school right now.
Right.
Kids will they'll share with you everything. They'll share with you having to do work online, having to, find a way to manage their time. But at some point, they're going to talk about, well, my parents didn't want me doing this or that. And then the kids will start chiming in, and then they'll work it out themselves. And again, I'm the resource to kind of help guide that conversation. But I let them guide the conversation. I'm just a fly on the wall in the room who can come off the wall and say, hey, here's some things to think about.
Now, do you find, I guess, the opposite end of that, where maybe the adult or the parent is guiding the conversation, that the teens, as a result, kind of shut down versus letting them guide the conversation?
That's not a part of the philosophy of how we teach. We allow the kids to determine the project that they do based on a list of pre-created project templates that we put high schoolers on. Give them a chance to figure that out, and we keep them in the driver's seat. And all of the guys that I use to help teach, they all have that same philosophy. They like to allow kids to figure stuff out on their own, and they learn so much more efficiently.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it seems like it's kind of more of that creator philosophy or approach, where you don't want to stifle their creativity by bogging them down with too many, I guess, restrictions or parameters. It's just, you give them that framework, the template to work within, but hey, let's see what they're going to do. Let them create. And
for people who may think that the kids need more structure, I'll say this to you. As a graduate of Booker T. Washington School for the Performing and Visual Arts there in Dallas, Texas, I realized the philosophy of that school and why it was so successful at developing young musicians, singers, dancers, actors, visual artists. Dr. Paul Baker, the guy who actually wrote the book that and founded Booker T, the guy who wrote the book that created the philosophy of the school, created an environment that had boundaries, but the boundaries were so wide and broad that the kids never saw the boundaries. So they always felt like they could be themselves. And when you create an environment of individuals who may be from Oak Cliff, They may be meeting somebody from Frisco or meeting from North Dallas for the first time. The music project gives them an opportunity to see each other on a level playing ground, and they get to know each other. They get to grow with each other, and they share their common experiences with each other.
Love that. Yeah, it tears down those walls, those stereotypes, just all of that divide that we face just in the world. Yeah, the arts brings people together.
Yeah, arts and entertainment has always done that. So, we continue to use that platform.
Love it. Awesome. So tell us more about what you've all been doing, I guess, to adjust to the self-quarantines and everything being closed down with COVID-19. What are some ways you're adapting to that and still serving the youth?
So right now, since schools are shut down and I'm not able to take on private students, I've had to retool both of my organizations to where I can continue to get some of the core work done through Zoom, through IG or Facebook.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to offering more services starting in May of this year. But we're still trying to put the programming out there to see if we can get, kids in under this whole new pandemic format right now.
Yeah, everyone's trying to adjust and figure it out. But
yeah. But on my for-profit side, I have been producing content for clients. I also just played a 17th anniversary wedding anniversary for a great couple. And I produced that through Zoom. It was like a 3-camera shoot with full lights and sound, and had a really nice setup here in my home. Everything put around or set up around my grand piano. My wife and I, we sang some songs and invited all of the anniversary party individuals to our Zoom.
I can imagine you play a lot of instruments, but I guess what would be your primary instrument or your favorite that you play?
I started out as a singer, so been singing since I was a child, and I gig on voice and piano.
Okay. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to hear you sing live at your mother's birthday party. I think it was her 70th birthday. And yeah, you blew the roof off the building. I was like, wow, this guy is super talented. I heard about your resume, but to hear it live and in person, I was highly impressed.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man.
And then also I had an opportunity to meet someone I think has gone through your program maybe when she was a teenager, and you're still mentoring Tierra.
Yes.
She's an incredible young lady and speaks very highly of you.
Yeah, very cool, man. Yeah, she's very gifted, very talented, man. She's a joy to work with.
Speaking of that, what does it feel like you as working with youth and then being able to see them maybe years later go on to be successful and know that you played a role in just helping them further their love for music or just helping them with those life skills? What does that feel like for you?
It's really indescribable, man. I just feel honored to have been one of the many people to help them matriculate through their life and to see that they appreciated it. Man, I think it helps you feel like you've fulfilled some level of purpose in your life, especially when I look back at those people who were that for me. So,
right.
Yeah, it's an honor, man. It's an honor to be asked to help. It's an honor for people to trust you enough to listen to what you have to say, knowing that you want them to learn all of this stuff and help them stand on your shoulders and get much further ahead than you are. So it's humbling. It's an honor. And I really feel good, man. It's a warm feeling, but it humbles you as well.
Definitely. I absolutely agree. It's a long list of people I look back over my life who've helped me get to the point I am now. And certainly those mentors, those coaches, it's those people that just took the time to show that, hey, that they value you and that they want to see you be successful. It's priceless.
Yeah, I will add this. Someone who really inspired me to make sure that as an adult musician, that I always work with kids was the guy who founded T-Ball, Curtis King. I remember going through one of his programs as a child, man. And I remember meeting Esther Roll and from Good Times. And I can't remember the other actor's name, but when they brought in these world-class legendary actors to come and perform with us little kids, and to have Esther Roll say, you guys can do it. You guys can do anything you want to do. Man, it inspires you in ways that are immeasurable. You can't really write a curriculum that will inspire or uplift a child to really strive to be excellent. So I look back on my life and how others have put programming in place to give kids access to world-class musicians, singers, actors, artists, and just to see how what it may take me 6 weeks to show a kid, what may take another person 2 weeks or a week to do.
Right.
Esther Roll did it in 5 minutes.
Wow. Incredible.
So, to kind of be in a position where people may respect what you do is a blessing, and then to pour back into them the very thing that's been poured into us, it really feels gratifying.
Indeed. Pay it forward, certainly. Well, Kevin, you've given us a lot of great insight, strategies, and tips, and Alex, I absolutely love your teaching philosophy working with the youth. I think it's a breath of fresh air, and it really enables them and empowers them to be creators and find what they love. Let's just get ready to wrap up this interview. Do you have any parting words of advice you want to leave the parents with?
I think ultimately, if we're talking about parents of high schoolers, I know that's the most difficult time for the parents. We talked earlier about the middle school years being, seemingly the most difficult for the kids. But then, for parents of teenagers who, maybe feeling frustrated right now with their kids because you want them to get some very important things that, you either learned when you were a child or you didn't get a chance to learn. Man, kids are listening and they're watching and they're learning. And no doubt the community that's around them, they're learning from it. So I've had to learn how to balance discipline and direction with fun and building up your kids' esteem and loving on them. It has to be a balance because it doesn't matter how much you learn the skill of something. If you're not emotionally stable enough to use it, then you're no good to anyone. So, I just say love on your kids and enjoy them and lovingly lead them in the direction that you think would be best for them. And know that stuff is not falling on deaf ear. Those kids remember, just like we remembered all of the things that adults said to us.
Right. Yeah, I think that's great advice, and just the importance of having that balance. I totally agree. Okay. Well, Kevin, how can the listeners get in contact with you?
Well, you can get in contact with me through Southwest Soul Circuit's webpage or Garden Youth Development's Facebook page. So Southwest Soul Circuit can be found at swsoulcircuit.com, or you can go to Facebook and look up Garden Youth Development Project Incorporated.
Fantastic. Again, Kevin, really appreciate everything you're doing and certainly taking time out your busy day to come speak with the Mentor Select audience. We definitely learned a lot. And just really inspired by everything you're doing. So keep up the great work.
Hey, man, thank you. And Derek, if I don't say it enough, man, I think all of us are inspired by you and your journey. And that's why I've asked you to mentor some of the young people that I mentor as well. So we're very proud of you, man. We thank you for your diligence on staying on top of creating this mentorship network and your podcast and all that. And just keep it up, man. Keep up the good work. And people are watching and people are impressed and people are being helped. So thank you for having me on here.
Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Hosted by Derek Phillips. Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. We get it. That's why Dare Rich interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. That's why we do the show. Be sure to share Mentor Select with other parents of teens. Follow us on social media at Mentor Select to stay up to date on the latest tips, strategies, and resources for parenting teens. Send your questions and comments to darerich@mentorselect.com. Tune in every Wednesday for new episodes. Till next time, this is Mentor Select.